John Davison Rockefeller entered the world on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York, born into a family of modest means. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman known for his shrewd and unpredictable nature. In contrast, his mother, Eliza Davison, was a deeply religious and disciplined woman who instilled in her children the core values of hard work, thriftiness, and unwavering faith. This stark contrast between his father's cunning business sense and his mother's moral fortitude played a significant role in shaping young John's character, creating a unique combination of ruthless ambition tempered by strict personal discipline. When the family relocated to Cleveland, Ohio, the young Rockefeller quickly demonstrated a keen interest in numbers and finance. At the age of 16, he landed his first job as an assistant bookkeeper for a small produce firm. He meticulously tracked every penny, quickly earning a reputation for his precision and unwavering reliability. Rockefeller once reflected, "From the beginning, I was trained to save and to make the most of what I had." This guiding principle would stay with him throughout his life. During his teenage years, Rockefeller's driving force was not the pursuit of luxury or immediate success. Instead, he was propelled by a deep-seated desire for control. He understood that the true key to power lay not only in amassing wealth, but also in mastering the intricate workings of money. He diligently studied the firm's balance sheets, learned the nuances of trade, and developed an early understanding of market dynamics. His careful observation of prices, logistics, and demand gave him valuable insights into how commerce could be scaled effectively. In 1859, at the age of 20, Rockefeller took a significant step forward by entering into a partnership with Maurice B. Clark, forming Clark and Rockefeller, a small produce commission business. That same year, a pivotal event occurred in Pennsylvania. The first successful oil well was drilled in Titusville. This groundbreaking discovery of petroleum would not only transform the world's economy, but also dramatically alter Rockefeller's destiny. He swiftly recognized that oil was far more than just a passing curiosity. It was the fuel of the future. Seeing opportunity where others saw only chaos, Rockefeller strategically began investing in oil refining rather than the uncertain business of drilling. To him, drilling was a risky venture, while refining, the process of transforming crude oil into usable products like kerosene, offered stability and predictability. He channeled his efforts into efficiency, consistency, and precision, building a business model poised to dominate a nascent industry. His meticulous attention to detail, his unwavering frugality, and his insistence on quality quickly distinguished him from his competitors. By his early 20s, Rockefeller was already accumulating wealth and influence. However, what truly defined him was not simply his success, but his distinctive mindset. He firmly believed in system, discipline, and a divine purpose. His religious faith assured him that success was a sign of God's favor, provided that wealth was used responsibly. This unique blend of faith and calculation formed the bedrock of his burgeoning empire. From his humble beginnings as the son of a traveling peddler, Rockefeller had begun his ascent toward becoming the most powerful businessman in America. Yet at this point, no one, not even he, could have foreseen how his name would one day become synonymous with both immense fortune and profound controversy. Continuing, after dedicating years of unwavering effort in a modest office, John D. Rockefeller began to realize that he could not remain an employee forever. He was born during a period of explosive industrial growth in America, and amidst that sweeping transformation, Rockefeller recognized an opportunity that eluded most others. From his accounting work, he learned to meticulously track every penny, analyze costs, and understand that whoever controls expenses ultimately controls profit. In 1859, when oil was discovered in Pennsylvania, Rockefeller immediately grasped the immense potential. While others rushed to drill wells, he chose a different and more strategic path, refining and distributing oil. Partnering with Maurice Clark, he founded Clark and Rockefeller, marking his first foray into the oil industry. Instead of drilling, Rockefeller purchased crude oil and refined it into kerosene, a product in high demand for lighting homes and streets across America. From the outset, he displayed extraordinary foresight. While other businessmen recklessly entered the oil market like gamblers, Rockefeller ran his operation with calculated precision and unwavering discipline. He personally managed every contract, relentlessly cut transportation costs, and negotiated fiercely with railroad companies to secure the best possible rates. This allowed him to offer kerosene that was cheaper, cleaner, and more consistent than his competitors' products. One of Rockefeller's most striking characteristics was his aversion to showmanship. He worked quietly, avoided social distractions, and spent the majority of his time in the office. Those who worked closely with him noted that he could sit for hours at his desk, meticulously reviewing figures and making decisions that would later shape the course of the American economy itself. In 1865, after frequent disagreements with Clark regarding the company's direction, Rockefeller made a decisive move to buy out his partner. At just 26 years old, he became the sole owner of the largest oil refinery in Cleveland. This pivotal moment propelled him onto the path to becoming the world's first oil tycoon. From that point forward, Rockefeller poured all his energy into expansion. He laid the foundation for a new company, Standard Oil, with a clear and unwavering philosophy. Optimize every process, control the entire supply chain, and eliminate waste. Under his leadership, every barrel of oil was refined cleaner, transported more efficiently, and distributed across the nation with unparalleled precision. What truly distinguished Rockefeller was not only his ambition, but also his ability to see beyond the immediate present. While others viewed oil merely as lamp fuel, he understood that it was the lifeblood of future industry, the energy that would power machines, cities, and nations. However, as his success grew, so did the chorus of criticism. Many accused him of being ruthless, crushing competition through mergers, buyouts, and aggressive pricing strategies. Yet, in Rockefeller's view, this was not cruelty. It was simply efficiency. He believed that only the best and most organized should survive in the marketplace. In an era devoid of antitrust laws, Rockefeller built Standard Oil into a vast industrial machine that, within a few decades, controlled over 90% of America's refining capacity. Inevitably, that immense power would make him one of the most admired and despised figures of his time. But at this moment, under the glow of kerosene lamps, an empire had been born, and John D. Rockefeller stood at its center, the undisputed master of the modern oil age. By the 1870s, John D. Rockefeller was no longer the obscure young businessman from Cleveland. He was now the head of Standard Oil Company, an empire expanding at a pace never before witnessed in American history. Every move he made was deliberate and meticulously calculated. And within 2 decades, he had seized control of nearly the entire oil industry. His strategy was not merely about expansion. It was about absorption and consolidation. Rather than engaging in chaotic and wasteful competition, Rockefeller sought to buy out or merge with rival firms. He firmly believed that unregulated competition led only to waste and inefficiency. Under that guiding philosophy, Standard Oil evolved into a sophisticated network of hundreds of subsidiary companies, all operating like synchronized gears within a single massive machine. One of Rockefeller's most brilliant strategies involved his railroad agreements. Through shrewd negotiation, he secured shipping rates far below those of his competitors, making it virtually impossible for them to match his prices. Furthermore, he not only obtained discounts, but also received secret rebates for every barrel of oil shipped by his rivals, a move that would later be recognized as a masterstroke of an industrial genius. Under his astute control, Standard Oil became much more than a mere refinery company. Rockefeller built a complete and vertically integrated supply chain, encompassing everything from crude extraction to refining, transport, packaging, and distribution. He invested heavily in tank cars, pipelines, storage facilities, and even retail outlets. Every single link in the chain was under his direct command. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled over 90% of America's refined oil output. From Cleveland to New York, from Chicago to Philadelphia, nearly every drop of oil bore Rockefeller's unmistakable imprint. Yet, such immense success also bred significant public concern. Newspapers began to depict Standard Oil as the giant octopus, with tentacles reaching into every corner of the American economy. Politicians and journalists alike questioned whether such a concentrated accumulation of power was inherently dangerous to democracy itself. Rockefeller remained remarkably calm and composed amidst the growing storm. He rarely appeared in public, avoided interviews, and allowed the numbers to speak for themselves. In his view, he was simply bringing order and efficiency to a chaotic industry, and his immense wealth was merely the natural reward for that order. But where he saw efficiency, others saw a monopoly. In 1882, facing mounting legal challenges, Rockefeller pioneered the concept of the trust, the world's first corporate trust. This innovative system allowed him and a select group of loyal trustees to control dozens of companies through stock ownership. It was an ingenious legal structure that maintained total control despite increasing government scrutiny. The creation of the Standard Oil Trust fundamentally altered the landscape of American business forever. It became the model for modern corporations and simultaneously the primary reason why the U.S. government began drafting antitrust laws. Even as debates raged about his unprecedented power, Rockefeller quietly expanded his reach overseas. Standard Oil kerosene illuminated homes across Europe, Asia, and Africa. From London to Shanghai, from Egypt to Brazil, the light of Rockefeller's empire shone brightly. John D. Rockefeller didn't just dominate America, he lit up the world. As the 20th century dawned, John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil empire stood as the ultimate symbol of both wealth and power. Yet that very dominance also made him the most reviled man in America. Public resentment grew steadily, and newspapers began referring to him as the unelected ruler of the United States. Political cartoons and publications like Puck and the New York World portrayed him as a monstrous octopus, its tentacles wrapped tightly around Congress, factories, and the courts. The turning point came in 1904, when journalist Ida Tarbell, whose father's small refinery had once been crushed by Standard Oil, published a groundbreaking expose titled The History of the Standard Oil Company. Her meticulously researched investigation revealed Rockefeller's secret deals, underhanded pricing tactics, and corporate manipulations. The name Rockefeller quickly became synonymous with greed and corporate corruption. Under immense public pressure, in 1906, the U.S. Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against Standard Oil, accusing it of violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. The trial dragged on for years, becoming one of the most significant legal battles in American history. Rockefeller, though already retired from active management, staunchly defended his philosophy. He believed that he had not destroyed competition, but rather brought order to chaos. In 1911, after nearly 5 years of intense litigation, the South Supreme Court delivered its landmark ruling. Standard Oil must be broken up into 34 independent companies. The industrial colossus that Rockefeller had painstakingly built over half a century, the pride and symbol of American enterprise, officially collapsed. But in a twist of irony, the breakup did not diminish Rockefeller's fortune. It actually multiplied it. The shares he held in the newly independent companies, including what would eventually become Exxon, Chevron, and Mobil, skyrocketed in value. Almost overnight, Rockefeller became the richest man on earth, with a net worth equivalent to over $400 billion in today's money. Yet, as his empire dissolved, Rockefeller himself underwent a profound transformation. He stepped away from the world of ruthless business competition and embarked on a new journey, the journey of philanthropy. From around 1910 onward, he devoted the majority of his time and resources to charitable causes. "God gave me my money," he once said, "and I must use it for the good of mankind." He founded the Rockefeller Foundation in 1913, which became one of the largest and most influential philanthropic institutions ever created. The foundation funded thousands of initiatives in education, medicine, and science around the globe. He also played a key role in establishing the University of Chicago, transforming it into a world-class center of learning. Thanks to his generous contributions, devastating diseases like yellow fever and hookworm were studied extensively and largely eradicated in many parts of the world. Rockefeller didn't just bring light through oil, he brought light through knowledge and compassion. And although history will forever remember him as a ruthless monopolist, in his later years, Rockefeller seemed to have found a higher purpose: to serve humanity with the very wealth that had once made him so controversial. After the fall of Standard Oil, John D. Rockefeller entered the twilight of his life as a completely transformed figure, no longer the ruthless oil baron, but America's most generous philanthropist. In his 70s, he embraced a quiet life at Pecanico Hills in New York, finding solace in tending his gardens, reading the Bible, and recording daily reflections in his journals. He maintained a surprising morning ritual. Each day, he wrote a letter expressing his gratitude to God for allowing him to witness another sunrise. He diligently exercised regularly, adhered to a strict diet, and cultivated a cheerful spirit. Though he had been despised by the public for decades, Rockefeller harbored no bitterness. He slowed down his pace, surrounded himself with family, and dedicated his remaining years to helping others. By this stage in his life, Rockefeller was no longer simply an industrialist. He had become the architect of modern philanthropy. The Rockefeller Foundation continued to expand its reach, funding critical medical, agricultural, and educational programs across the globe. One of its most influential contributions was the establishment of the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, which went on to train generations of doctors and researchers. He also provided significant support for scientific and artistic advancement, ranging from the development of new farming techniques to the provision of scholarships for underprivileged students. Though he himself lacked formal education, Rockefeller deeply understood the transformative power of knowledge. Knowledge, he once stated, is the only wealth that increases the more you share it. In his final decades, Rockefeller became almost mythic. The American people began to perceive him in a different light, no longer as a villain, but as a man redeemed, proof that power and compassion can indeed coexist. He lived to the remarkable age of 98, passing away in 1937. The New York Times headline read, John D. Rockefeller, the man who shaped modern America. His vast fortune was carefully divided among family and philanthropic causes. His son, John D. Rockefeller Jr., continued to build upon his legacy, constructing the iconic Rockefeller Center in New York, a monument to art, architecture, and the enduring American spirit. More than a century later, Rockefeller's name endures, not merely as a symbol of immense wealth, but as a testament to visionary leadership and impactful contributions to society. He was the first to transform philanthropy into a structured science, laying the foundation for modern charitable giving. His profound influence can be seen in every great philanthropist who followed in his footsteps, from Andrew Carnegie to Bill Gates. The life of John D. Rockefeller is a captivating story of duality, one half symbolizing relentless ambition and unparalleled power, and the other half embodying extraordinary kindness and dedicated service to humanity. Some remember him as the oil king, while others revere him as the father of modern philanthropy. Both are undeniably true. Rockefeller once articulated a philosophy that perfectly captures his approach to life. If your only goal is to become rich, you will never achieve it. But if your goal is to create value, wealth will inevitably find you. Perhaps that is his greatest legacy, not the immense wealth he accumulated, but a moral compass that reminds us that wealth gains true meaning only when it is used for the betterment of humanity. And for that, John D. Rockefeller remains one of the most remarkable figures in American history, a man who transformed the light of oil into the light of knowledge and compassion that continues to shine across the modern world.